Chapter 1. What is a tariff? Picture this. You're walking through a market. A merchant from out of town is selling silk at a lower price than the local weavers. To level the playing field, the town mayor demands a fee, a tariff, on every roll of silk the outsider sells. That fee makes local goods more competitive. That, at its core, is what a tariff does. A tariff is a tax placed on imported goods. Governments use them to encourage buying domestic products, protect industries, or sometimes as a political tool to negotiate better trade deals. But tariffs are a double-edged sword. While they can shelter a nation's economy, they can also spark trade wars, raise consumer prices, and damage international relationships. Chapter 2. When tariffs worked. One of the most famous examples comes from the early days of the United States. The Tariff of 1816 helped American manufacturers compete against British imports after the War of 1812. It helped fuel the rise of domestic industries, especially textiles and iron. Jump forward to post-World War II Japan, where import tariffs on American automobiles gave Japanese car makers time to grow strong. By the 1980s, they were global giants, producing cars that rivaled and eventually surpassed American brands in quality and efficiency. Even South Korea, during its rapid industrial growth, used tariffs alongside government subsidies to protect and cultivate industries like steel and shipbuilding, until they were globally competitive. Chapter 3. When tariffs backfired. But history also tells cautionary tales. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff of 1930 is a standout failure. Passed during the Great Depression, it raised tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods. The goal? Protect American jobs. The result? Global retaliation. A 60% drop in international trade and worsening economic collapse. Fast forward to 2018, under President Donald Trump's administration. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, and Chinese goods were meant to bring jobs back to the U.S. But studies found that U.S. companies and consumers ended up paying the cost. Prices went up, exports fell, and farmers suffered deeply from retaliatory tariffs. Chapter 4, 2025, and the Trump Tariff Plan. Now, in 2025, tariffs are back in the spotlight. Former President Donald Trump is once again pushing for sweeping tariffs. This time, a universal 10% tariff on all imports, with a proposed 60% tariff specifically on Chinese goods. He calls it an America First plan. But here's the problem. Almost everyone is against it, from economists to business leaders, and even some of his own party. Why? First, a universal tariff would mean massive price hikes. Nearly everything, clothing, electronics, food, relies on imported components. A 10% tariff is essentially a tax on American consumers. Second, economists warn it would trigger a global trade war. Countries would retaliate. American exports, cars, agriculture, technology, would be hit hard. Third, the plan threatens inflation. At a time when prices are already high, a tariff could push inflation back up, forcing the Fed to keep interest rates high, slowing down growth. And finally, it doesn't fix the root issues. Manufacturing jobs lost to automation won't return with tariffs. And China has its own ways to counter tariffs, by devaluing currency or increasing state support for industries. One economist recently said, Trump's tariff plan isn't economic policy. It's economic nationalism disguised as policy. Chapter 5. The real cost of tariffs. Tariffs are a powerful tool. They can protect or punish. Support domestic jobs. or spark global backlash. The key is knowing when to use them and when to walk away. In 2025, the debate over tariffs isn't just about economics. It's about what kind of country America wants to be. One that builds bridges, or one that raises walls. The question we're left with is this: are we protecting our industries, or just punishing ourselves?